Hey, all right, everyone. Let me see. Let me know if you can hear me. All right, cool. Let's see. Hey, hi there. Let me just real quick share the screen here on Zoom. Let me this screen. Let me just create this projector here. Create output projector here on screen 4. All right, awesome. All right, so I tweaked this mic a little bit, and hopefully the voice should be a little bit louder, and it should compare a little bit better with the music. Should balance a little bit better. All right. So let's get this started. They should go here, a little bit smaller. Hey, John. Hey, Bal. Let me know if you guys can hear me.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Can hear you,
Yep.
but it's echoing.
Echo.
Is it?
Like I can hear myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no, it's better now.
All right, cool. Sometimes at the beginning it's a little bit clunky. I had them very very loud. Let me know if it improved.
I think it's better.
All right. All right, as long as you can hear my voice correctly, I think we're good to go. I'm gonna get started in a sec. Hey, Art, good to see you.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Can you hear me correctly and all that?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Awesome.
I came in late, so I didn't hear what the audio problems were, but it sounds fine.
All right, fantastic, cool. So let's get this started. Let's see. I'm gonna do an experiment. I'm gonna try to move faster to the composing phase and not spending as much time with the describing the style. But again, if you've got any question, just stop me. Feel free to ask. And so today's style is adventure villain. All right. And so I'm gonna jump right. It's right here. I'm gonna explain the differences with adventure hero. And the main difference is gonna be in the type of melody and the type of harmony, right? So when a hero we use more like diatonic intervals, and we had a lot of fifths and fourths to enhance that heroic sort of vibe. Here it's gonna be very chromatic, okay? So where maybe before we had something like right this type of thing. Let me see if you can yeah. So fifths and all that. Sort of thing. Here's gonna be more type of thing, right? This type of chromatisms. So that is the main difference. Just the melody alone can shift completely one style, adventure hero to adventure villain. All right. So for adventure, here we have more fourths and fifths. Here, extensive use of dissonances, halftones, and tritones. You're gonna be using these quite a lot. Let me see if I can. Yeah, tritones. And I did a categorization of intervals here, but I'm not gonna get too much into it. Usually we have consonances and dissonances, but then we have within consonants we've got perfect consonants and imperfect. The perfect being the octave, fourth, and fifth, and the unison, and the imperfect being the third and sixth. So the closer here, the darker, and more villain, and the closer to here, more hero. Here in between, right? So what I was using here. So we've got seconds, right? We've got the tritone here, right? Special case, tritone. Or maybe no. This type of thing, right? So that's basically the main difference when it comes to melody and harmony. It's sort of the same thing, right? Harmony for hero, you're gonna have mostly major modes, and for villain, it's gonna be mostly in minor modes. But also, I like to add diminished chords, augmented sometimes chromatism, chords that you create out of the like a noctatonic scale, or um, or from like alternative scales that are not like the major or minor scales. Okay, just to put it simple, and that's it. But in common, the function is the same thing, right? It's presenting character. Strong theme construction, typically built in logical 8-16 bars. Large instrumentation. Now, large instrumentation, it depends on the moment. If it's like, it's similar to hero, right? So if we are introducing the hero, then large instrumentation can help. If it's like if it's a moment where the hero or the villain is present, or the idea of the villain is present, but there's a dialogue, or there's something that it just can't, the scene or whatever it is doesn't allow for the music to go as big, then we can make this small. Let me just real quick mute all your mics. Give me 1 sec more. Participants, and then sorry, 1 sec. And mute all. Yeah. Why is that? All right, cool. Now it's working. So that's that. Frequently, we'll move the melodic phrases between orchestral sections, moving from one section to the other. When it's big, we're gonna have horns, we're gonna have trumpets, we're gonna have trombones, we're gonna have trombones flutter, we're gonna have like big brass sound when it's that introducing the villain. And it's similar as you can see, it's a similar instrumentation to hero. It's just different melodically and harmonically. And so frequently we'll yeah. So that's it. All right. So we covered this. And just a few tips and tricks, and also we're gonna talk about the difference between film noir and creepy, because sometimes I'm gonna talk about this in a second. So right now, so when writing that villain theme, sometimes we tend to think it's just dark, right? And it is dark, right? And now villain, usually the villain character usually has that component of creepiness. And so how to separate just darkness from creepy? And basically the concept is the uncertainty. So if musically there's uncertainty, that is gonna evoke that creepy mood or effect, right? And just dark is what we've described. Those chromatisms, dissonances, diminished chords, minor chords, right? This type of thing. That's gonna create darkness. And sometimes that's just enough. If we need to create that creepiness type of thing, then unpredictably. And when I say something, creepy, what makes something creepy is the uncertainty of a threat. Therefore, the ambiguity of predictability of whether something is to be feared or not will give us the creep. So how do we create that with music? So it can be unpredictable timbres, unpredictable melodic gestures, unpredictable harmonic changes, right? So it's low tempo with no with no sense of beat, not so pleasant or unexpected ear candy elements. So for example, instead of for hero, we're gonna have a cymbal swell to connect a section with the next one. For this other style, maybe we can use a waterphone or something that is a little bit more unexpected timbrically, right? And also a cymbal swell, it's you know how it goes. Is that it has a very predictable progression, right? Whereas a waterphone, let's see if I've got something loaded here. Yeah, there you go. Let me see if it's loaded. right? It's going to be a little bit more unpredictable. All right, where is it here? All right, cool. So surprising melodic resolutions and unexpected cadences, etc. Now going back here, tips and tricks. So I'm just gonna read this real quick. So the main feelings that an audience should experience from a villain type of music are danger and repulsion. Now, danger can easily be triggered by using low notes and dark tones, complex harmonies with dissonances, complex textures borrowed from horror type of music, but not. So there's gonna be, it's these two styles can be very close at some point. They can transition from one to the other, right? Or within a theme, we can have like the melodic beeline moment, right? And then we can have like a dark horror section, like maybe like a measure or two, and then especially when you are doing music for a specific scene where the scene is moving the music from one place to another, right? And so that's for danger. Now repulsion, it's the easiest way is to have a dissonant melody. And a dissonant melody, you can create a dissonant melody by adding chromatisms or by harmonizing the melody, like having an interval that creates dissonance, right? Like enhancing the tritones, etc. For example, so if we had something, let me just have the piano so it's easier to. So we have something like. Right? Just so that is going to, and it's going to add that dissonance that's needed for this type of style. All right, so melodic material use minor seconds, chromatisms, and tritones, and also exotic modes, tonic, minor with a twist. And then something that works very well is dual tonality, because it creates that unexpected and an easy feel that works very well for this style. And sometimes this works both for like the big thematic beeline moment as well as for the like smaller background type of music. In fact, I like using it more for like the small, because when the music goes smaller and softer, it's harder to create that feeling, that mood, right? And so this technique makes it very obvious that something's wrong, right? Because you've got a melody or whatever it is, or a texture in one key, and then you've got the second texture or the background with another key, and then it feels wrong, something's wrong. So the more farther apart the two keys, the weirder it's going to sound. The closer, it's gonna still feel like something's wrong, but in a way it works. So you can make it work a little bit, but make it feel sort of like something's wrong, or you can make it sound completely separate. It's two different things, right? So if you are mixing C minor and G minor, it's got a lot of notes in common, right? But if you are mixing C minor and F sharp minor, then you've got lots of notes not in common. It's gonna sound weirder, right? All right, so that's it. Tempo and rhythm 9140, similar to hero triplets and dotted rhythmic figures. Harmony is gonna be mostly minor, but with added chromatisms. I like to use diminished and augmented chords. Adds a little bit of that edge. Sounds that transition from just adventure beeline to horror. The horror is most of the times atonal and lots more dissonances. So if there was something between just the minor chords and that darker type of textures, well, we've got the diminished chords, or just minor chords with some added dissonances. And frequent use of minor triads. More dissonant chords are common to progression. All right, cool. So that's it. Something else, melody. We talked about all these. So dissonances, exotic modes, etc. And then orchestration. It depends, right? It's a large instrumentation in general when we're presenting introducing the beeline. When we see the beeline for the first time, it depends on the type of beeline. It's also if right when we talked about hero, we've got two types of heroes. We've got the superhero, right, and then just the normal person. So the beeline usually is gonna match that hero. So if it's at the superhero, super beeline level, then it's gonna be bigger. But if it's just down to the earth hero, just a normal person doing something great, then sometimes it's not as big, musically speaking, right? So same thing for beeline. All right, now I think we are done. Yes. All right. I linked here a doc explaining adventure type of music in general, non-character based type of music. All right. So for you to take a look when you have a sec, and that's it. All right. So I'm gonna spend. Let me know if you got any questions.
Yeah, Mark, could
Yes.
you explain the octatonic scale again?
Yeah.
Briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so I don't have to write it. All right, here you go. Let me. I'm just gonna copy. Now here, duplicate. I love the auto. I love this scale. So there are two scales depending on if you start with the whole tone or the half tone, right? So the first one, sounds like this. So C D. All right. And the second one, if you start with the half step instead, right? Right. It's just a different scale. So you can do two things with this scale. The first thing is using you can think two ways. Like I'm gonna use regular harmonies and then I'm gonna build a melody based on this scale, right? So you'll be using minor, diminished, or major chords based on what you think that you need to use harmonically, and so. Right, do re di da dum, do re di da dum, and I did C minor, do re di da dum, and then basically it's D sharp diminished or E flat diminished, right? So that's what we've got here. Or the thing that I like better is coming up with chords that from this scale, right? So we've got these notes. All right. So do, re, do, re, da, 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 and obviously the result are going to be minor, major, diminished type of chords. But sometimes what I do is like, okay, what combinations out of these, because at the end of out of this scale I can use to create my group of chords that I'm gonna be using, right? And then create your tonic and your dominant, etc., right? And that's something I like doing, and separates me a little bit from the just tonal, but it's still not a tonal. It's something in between, right? And you can create cool chords. Like for example, you could have you can create just regular chords with this, but also you can create chords that would be outside of the just the minor scale or the major scale. And obviously you can justify those chords in many different ways, but it's an easy way to justify. So you could have, for example, this one, which is the C diminished, right? At the end of the day, it's B flat. Dom, do, this one, do, di, dom, right? So this is a C diminished. And then just creating your group of chords that you're gonna use when you're using this scale. So this is basically the octatonic scale. Does it make sense? It creates.
That's great.
Very easy to create. Yeah. Diminished chords come from 7 diminished chords come from this scale as well. All right.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right. So
Hi, Mark.
yes.
Hey, Mark, how are you? One quick offering to the fellow composers here is that to take the series of modes into an interesting direction, this amazing French composer, Olivier Messiaen, came up with this whole method of 6 different, what he calls modes of limited transposition. And the stuff that's going on there is just amazing if you want to explore it online, like if you want to type in like a Google search, Messiaen modes of limited transposition. He includes like whole tone scale and that half step, whole step diminish. But then he goes into other scale combinations that most of us never even thought of, and it's really interesting stuff if you want to go into more of the, not necessarily creepy, but darker textures of chord and scale possibilities. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. It's really some amazing stuff he came up with.
Awesome. Thanks, Premick.
Like 9-note scales, which is like a whole tone scale with 3 more notes added, that just opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Cool. Thank you.
Composition. Sure.
Anything else? Thanks for sharing, Premic.
Sure.
All right.
Mark,
Yes.
how do you keep the line between horror and adventure villain? Where is that fine line? And what would distinguish the two?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, all right. So horror for me is gonna be in general. So that's okay. That's just, to me, in general. I think melodically speaking, adventure villain is gonna be a little bit more thematic, or melodic, or motivic. Horror, I find it to be more textural. Now you can do horror and still have a melody or a motive, right? Usually more like a motive, but the texture is gonna have a big impact on like the textural part of the music is gonna have more weight on the entire texture of that moment. So to me, horror, you're talking more clusters, we're talking more glisses and bends and more atonal type of music, darker, more chromatisms, more sudden, bigger hits. And when it comes to Beeline, it is still dark, but in a way, it is somehow a little bit more tonal. You can have a texture, the darkest. You can have like a background, it's like chromatic trills or random or like a random passage for the violins, for the strings, maybe for the mid-low strings. You can have glisses. You can have all these type of things to add darkness to the texture that supports something that maybe is a little slightly more melodic or more tonal. You can stay tonal and dark. Remember when we said sadness is minor chords and suspense is minor with a twist sort of thing. So this is the same thing. It's just bigger and a little bit more darker, but not too dark. So we transition to horror, right? Because if I do something like this, let me see, where's my brass? So if I do something like this, no, let's see. Let me see what else we've got here. All right. So real quick, right? All right, so these could be do, bum, bum, da-di-da, do, bum, bum, do. So, so these, sorry, is this is beeline, right? Introducing the beeline. We can, in a smaller moment, we can have something like no. Yeah, maybe. Do, re, di, do. Maybe we can do re, di, do. Re, di, re, di, do. No, re, di, do. No, no. De, di, da, de. And maybe here. Cello. All right, cool. So now, so this could still be beeline, but as we keep darkening this, we can create horror, right? So if we've got something very dark down here, so what we've got now is, now if we make this, so to me horror generally it's more cluster, it's more textural, even though it moves, right? It's more cluster glissando bends with the strings. It's darker in general, it's more unpredictable, it's more atonal, right? It's more chromatic. So if we enhance those aspects of the music, then we're gonna move from that to here. So having the same element here, if we enhance that, let me see. Yeah. No. Maybe super soft. Ta-dum, ta-dum. Let me just duplicate this guy. Ah. Where are you? One sec here. Files. Yeah. More towards the end, but you get the idea. So the more we start darkening these, the more horror is gonna sound, if that makes sense. Yeah, sort of thing. Sudden hits like dum, do. And then Celesta here. Celesta. Do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go here. J. So copy, and paste, and then I'm gonna move these. Like a triton up. I'll delete this, guys. I'm gonna bring this down volume. And then what I'm gonna do is come on. Alright. So I'm gonna move these. And then up, so it's a semitone and an octave and a semitone up. I'm gonna bring this down in volume.
Scary.
So the more we go there, the more scary it gets.
Yeah, I think I understand the significant difference now.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna develop in this theme, and I'm gonna write the. I think what we can do. Do, da, di, da, da, dum, something like. So the theme is going to be. Do, dum, de, di, dum, and then de, da, de, do, de, di, di. So we're gonna do do, 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 do. Maybe. Yeah. So this is gonna be. So this is sort of like the sharp diminished, right? No, no. Maybe you can do. No, or maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do G diminished. This is A diminished to so maybe you can do G diminished, A flat diminished. All right. All right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think it works. So dom, maybe you can do dom, ba ba bam, dirty dums, like low epic percussion hits, dom, da da don, da da don, dron, like super low brass here, dron, dom, ba ba bam, dirty. If I could move this down. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. No. Yeah, let's just do this. Ah, pam 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 pam. Sorry. Do re dum dum. Then we can do in octaves here. Do 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 maybe we can have like the horns. Maybe I don't know, horns. This can be horns, and then and down an octave with low brass, so trombones and all that. And then we can do maybe the trumpets here and the trombone. So we can be trumpets, plus trim violins. Yeah. So maybe. So do, de, di, do, de. So maybe for so the octave maybe it's for the second time around. We can do the first time. Do, de, di, do, de. So do, de, di, do, de, do, de, di, di, do. Type of thing. All right, I think this works. All right, so I'm gonna give you. Does it make sense so far? So basically, just very chromatic type of melody, and then just some minor and diminished chords. Now, I'm not going when it comes to creating these chords, I don't make them super dark, and with lots of extensions, and because then when I start orchestrating this, the orchestration is gonna play an important role on making this darker, right? So if I use sort of like mid-low voicings, right, it's gonna sound dark. So even with the piano, C minor sounds okay here, sounds darker here, right? And this is very obvious with horns, right? Up here sounds almost triumphant. It's a minor chord, right? And then down here sounds a little bit more darker. It's still serious. Down here it sounds scary. Down here, even major chords. Doesn't sound scary, but this major chord, this is A flat major, but it still sounds dark, right? If we did the same thing here, sounds completely heroic. Not here though. All right. So I'm not going to darken this too much because the orchestration is gonna darken it already. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to come up with something like this, and then I'll kind of orchestrate it. I won't spend too much time. If you want to be like a full developed one, check out the one that we did last time. It is here. View. If you go to adventure action, what is going on? Adventure, this one here. If you go down here, adventure beeline, this one here, and right here. This is a couple of videos. This one and the next one, style definition, and then the sketch creation, and then the orchestrating the sketch. All right. So that's it. I'm gonna put a timer, and then I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. All right, your turn. I'm gonna put the link on the I'm a Composer course in the chat so you have it. All right, we're back. All right, so yeah, so let's do this. So I have a call. I don't know why this is not focusing. Focus. There you go. All right. So I have to leave in 10 max. So what I'll do is I'll try to orchestrate this like when you are working on a movie and you have to get this cue done and it's by now and you have to do it. So I'm gonna compose super fast. Maybe not click track, maybe nothing. Just I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna put this. Let me see. If I do this and I put this here and I make this slightly bigger. No, not
It's
this.
crunch time. Time to crush it.
Let's do it, va? Let's do it. So I'm gonna put this here, and maybe this here. See, this guy here. All right, did it all wrong. There you go. Alright, so should be good to go. I'm gonna put this slightly here, and then you get the idea. Alright, so the first thing that I'm gonna focus on the melody. I'm gonna make this big, and so I'm gonna start with the horns. First time is just horns. So that's the first pass, and then trumpets. So those dissonances in there and tritons, right? For trumpet, we're gonna have monster brass here. No, not monster brass. Maybe or maybe. Yeah. I want to see what's in here. So I just selected the monster brass patch. You're not gonna see anything, but you'll see me performing. It's too loud. It's too loud. It's too loud. I'm gonna come back here later. I wanna. Horns down an octave, triple forte, another 12 horns patch. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see how we. Do we have strings? Just I need just violins. Oh, 2 minutes. Violins. Where are you? Too loud. Bring this down. This is too much. So I wanted to make it like, they're breathing, but it's too long. Recorded here. So this was recorded down here. Just these are violins in octaves tremolando. cluster texture down there. I messed up a lot, but I got a good idea. No. Needs a lot of help, and the lightning I didn't even play to tempo, but we have 27, 35, 27, 40. Yeah, almost, more like 25 seconds of music. 25 seconds of music. So that's and it's a lot still. The timpani roll and the cymbal swell don't end at the same time, and definitely there's not even like harmonic support. There's just some low brass notes, but that makes us realize I sometimes start working on the melody. I make it work in terms of syncastration, so it sounds like the real deal, and then it's like because the orchestra is such a big instrument, a good melody already has the harmonic component in it, in a way. And so because the orchestra, it's a big instrument, all the harmonics that are bouncing, right? When we have this one note, with the piano, it's just the C note, right? But the harmonics are there. We can hear the G, we can hear the E, right? Now, when we have this note instead with a different instrument or section, because it's a bigger sound, it's in a bigger room, we've got those harmonics are more present. We can hear the G, we can hear the fifth, we can hear the third, etc. Different harmonics, right? And so within the entire orchestra, and especially with these thick melodies, because of two reasons. One, we've got the melody already has a harmonic component because the way we've designed the melody, and two, because the harmonics are so present because it's a big section, lots of instruments doing the same melody, and also in octaves, and also in a big space, big room. It sometimes it feels like we don't even need the harmonic support, and so with just adding the root of each chord as sometimes support right there in the downbeat, or as a response, right, like sort of like a counterpoint, dom pom teri dom pom pom, sort of thing. Sometimes that already provides with the harmonic content that we need. We don't need to do that like the triadic diminished chord, because it's already in the melody, and just by adding that root note in the chord, it's more than enough. In fact, yes, we could add a little bit of those chords, maybe with I see them with cellos tremolando, but realize that they are going to sound way softer in the texture, and that is okay. And that's okay. We don't need much. Come on. Oh, that would be nice. So that is tremolo sul ponticello. So you see what I'm doing? One more time. No, I don't like it. Yeah. Sort of thing, right? It's all perfect. I need to work on this, and obviously this is a telos section. I'm doing chords, so if there are 8 telos, it's not realistic, right? I'm duplicating this 3 times. It's not like telo divisi would be more realistic. Which is not loaded for whatever reason. Oh, here. Smaller sound. Anyway, that's it for me. Now it's your turn. If you want to finish the sketch that you did, it's your turn. I'm gonna finish the class here. Let me know, is there any question that you have before we go?
I know you're in a rush to get out. I'm just curious. That cello divisi, what library is that from?
That's Elias Scoring Strings.
Okay.
Beautiful.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. The way they do it is they create you load the patch, and they'll actually load 4 patches. If you press just one note, then it'll fire the 4 patches. And if you do 2 notes, 2 of them, the first one is 1 cello, and the second one is 3 chairs, 2 chairs. So 3 cellos, 2 cellos, and 3 cellos, something like this. And so if you do 1, you'll have a total of 8 or something like this, or 9. And if you do 2, it'll split and it'll do 4 and 5. And if you do 3, it'll do 2, 3, and 2, something like this. That sounds. You can do up to 4 notes. and it'll do the inner legatos. It's a library that's not as intuitive as other libraries, but it provides you with these unique features.
LA scoring strings, is
Yeah,
that what you said?
yep, LA, Los Angeles scoring
That's-
strings. Yeah,
That's impressive, you know, because I mean, when you're doubling it the whole number. So it's like you got 64 cellos, you know.
exactly. And this is not the way a real orchestra would sound at all. Now sometimes that's what we want. That's what they do. I actually in soundtracks and movies, and they actually record this line 3 times in the scoring stages to thicken it, right? And so those techniques can help to get a bigger sound. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's the desired sound. When we are going for a more realistic sound, then this is the approach. But what is these days a realistic sound anymore? If we are trying to mimic the orchestral sound, then this is the approach. If we are trying to just sound orchestral, we can do whatever we want, because these days we are used to hear this non-realistic sound, and we understand that as the new norm, the new realistic sound. So hopefully that makes sense.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Mark.
Yep.
Hi. Along the same lines, I know 8Dio sells these libraries like 66 cellos and umpteen trombones, and I don't know if you've tried any of those, or if you feel that's overkill or maybe useful.
I tried the Hans Zimmer strings from Spitfire and never liked it. I don't know. It's
Really?
yeah, no. It's like, oh, I prefer in my case, I've got multiple libraries. I prefer layering libraries because it's 2 flavors, more options. I prefer having 2 sets or 3 sets of 8 cellos or 12 cellos, or instead of having like 64 cellos, which is what they have, right? And then that's the only option that I have. I prefer mixing different groups, different rooms, different sizes, different depths, right? Closer and farther away. And so I still can get this big massive sound, right? Like this is exactly these 3 libraries, right? And I can tweak it to make it sound this more the Hans Zimmer E type of sound.
Yeah,
octave
that's fantastic.
type of thing.
And that's just cellos, right?
Those are actually just low string patchy staccatos. We've got the Albion, the Symphobia, and the cellos spiccato from my LA scoring strings that provide this sort of like bite type of enclosure sound. This is the cellos from these guys. Yeah. So these LA scoring strings, Symphobia has this more aggressive, and then Albion is this bigger room. When you put them all together, type of thing.
Great, awesome sound.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds like the Hans Zimmer in the movies type of old school Hans Zimmer type of sound. Yeah, but we are used to it. People like it, and sometimes it's useful to have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Mark, I have a question that I don't know if it's relevant. If you have, say, I know like each virtual instrument, like if it's like recorded live, then it will also record the room sound as well. Now, say if you layer 5 instruments, that basically you have 5 room sounds stacked, right? So that means like the more room sound, like the more instruments you have, the more room sound you have.
Yes.
So isn't it more difficult to mix the more like
Yes.
I'm saying like, for example, if it's just like one instrument of 66 cellos.
Yes, it is.
Versus 5 separate cello instruments that total to like a 66 cellos, but then that will have like 5 room sounds.
Yes, absolutely. It is harder. In this case, this is the sound. I had to just cut a little bit and at like the lowest end, and then just get rid of some of the 232, because when I was putting all these sounds together, because of the 3 rooms, I had a little bit of frequency stacking in that range, and that is what helped sort of make sure that there's no frequency stacking. There are not frequencies that are annoying, that are unpleasant, that we don't want to have there. And so yes, I had to tweak this sound a little bit, because you know, that's
But it is indeed a little harder to mix when you layer lots of instruments, right?
yes, absolutely, yeah. There are different reasons why you would layer those, and there's perfectly fine to layer those. It just, you have to take into consideration that there's more stuff but the same space, and so how do we deal with adding more elements into the same finite space that we have? So
So you just basically just learned like which frequency to remove with experience. Like it's like different for different instruments, I guess.
it is different for different instruments. It's again, Dennis explains this very well, but basically, yeah, it's about it's training your ear and finding what frequency is there that is masking the sound, that's making the sound not pleasant, that's taking away. Like if I bring this up. Oh dang! What just happened? What's going on here? Let me just do this. See, this is the frequency around here. Definition, muddiness. And then removing this guy a little bit. It's just 1 dB. Because what the thing that we would do automatically instead is like, there's no definition, right? And you would go here and you would add a little bit. And then we have an unrealistic, not natural sounding, even though it's not natural, right? Because it's just talking 3 groups, but it's not natural. And so one thing that I learned from mixing engineers, that mixing is about shaping the sound. It's not about adding. So before you add, see if there are any frequencies that are too loud here that you can remove, that you can carve out, that you can get rid of, so you can hear more these frequencies. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to find the annoying frequency. And the way to do this is you're gonna bring this up. You're gonna bring up the Q so it's narrow, and you're gonna try to find the frequency that's annoying, right? So we've got this. You can hear it's around here. This area, it's making the sound muddy. It's making it sound less. It's removing definition, right? Right here, around 200, 220 in this case. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring down the Q and then bring down the gain and just got like 1, 2, 3 dBs max. That's it. That's basically it. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, I guess I just like have made it like a too complicated in my head. I was thinking about something like, I don't know why I thought it would be like super complicated, but yeah.
No, so no, it's sometimes there's no problem, and in my template all this is done. That's the good thing about having a template, that I've been using this template for forever, right? And I know that the combination of all these patches, instruments, the way they are placed, and I keep tweaking it. It's not perfect. I keep tweaking it, right? I'm just making a space and finding this combination, this other combination. That's what I like having about having a template. Is like somehow everything is sort of ready. Yes, it always needs tweaking and adapting because every piece is different, every song is different, but good starting point, right? When I'm using this one, which is the one that I did for MTCM, which practically it's not my template, I feel lost sometimes because it's just finding the instruments, the exact settings that I have for that specific, right? I know in my template exactly there I've got some instruments that do specific things, right? And I can control it from here. And the EQ it's every in the MTCM template, the EQ is there as well.
Okay, yeah. Great, thank you.
No problem. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. Have a nice rest of the week. Yeah. Bye-bye. Adios.
Bye, Mark. Thank you.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye.